Ladies and gentlemen, Six Fig Stock Trader here on YouTube. And folks, today we are talking Bitcoin and CKB. Before we get into this, check me out on Twitter at Real6Fig. This is where I drop links to upcoming videos, charts, and news. So hit me up at Real6Fig. Let's get back to the charts. Like I said, today we are going to be going over Bitcoin and CKB. So we can see that we had a little nice head and shoulders pattern form on the 12-hour chart. And this was a direct result of a rising wedge, something that I've been warning people about all of October. And in addition, I've been warning people about this rising wedge for the last few months now. Unfortunately, price action has moved back inside this rising wedge, and I do think that this could possibly be one of the best bull traps we've seen in Bitcoin yet. Currently, Bitcoin's trading at 59,100, and we are seeing price action really press with these full-bodied bearish candles up against this 50 moving average. And we did see the conversion line cross the baseline to the downside. So this is not good as well. If we do get flustered by this 50 moving average and price action continues downwards, I do think that a retest of this 200 moving average will be in order, and we may see a wick down to somewhere in the high 40,000s. But for now, I think it would be safe to assume that Bitcoin, I was going to say Bitcoin might come down to about $57,000, maybe $54,000 before the next chance at reversal. And I do think that what we are seeing could be Elliott wave theory to the downside, something like this. Nobody knows at this point quite yet. So let's look at this on a 4-hour chart as well. And this kind of is supporting the theory that we might see some sort of price test around this $57,000 level. If we just kind of play pretend here, this might be the average direction of the 200 moving average, 56,500 Bitcoin. That doesn't seem unreal to me at all. So with that said, folks, I do think that we need to take a peek at CKB and see where it is going because we may definitely have a corrective wave on our hands that looks something like that. Just depending on the market, we may see this thing travel further. One thing for Bitcoin that I want to point out as well, and that I have pointed this out in the past, especially back in early October, I was kind of speculating how this might end up being one mega nasty head and shoulders pattern. So with that said, nobody knows until we get there. But if that did happen within this rising wedge pattern, I think that the market would collapse into a bear market at that point. So let's just hope that we have the crypto gods on our side. I'm not saying to go out and sell all your stuff. You need to make those decisions for yourself, and you need to understand kind of where the market's at. This is not financial or trading advice at all. So with that said, folks, let's take a peek at CKB and see what it is doing. So currently we are trading at about 0.0199-ish, somewhere in there, which isn't too shabby. But we are seeing CKB really kind of setting up here. And it's squeezing. We are in this squeeze pattern now. I was hoping that we would have gotten our little ascending triangle or another little cup and handle. It just seems like every time CKB sets up so nicely, Bitcoin just shows up and ruins the party. And we can see even that cup and handle. And additionally, we can see this mega inverse head and shoulders that formed And I mean, in the grand scale of the things, the prices are heading down right now, temporarily, hopefully. But we can see in the grand scale of things, we are still in an uptrend technically. Even though we're trending kind of downwards, we are still in an uptrend currently. So let's look at CKB on the daily chart and just kind of see what is going on. Now, I've kind of speculated about this in the past before, how we might be getting this long drawn out ascending triangle that could be forming, and this would last well into the new year, and we might see CKB kind of do one of these things. So with that said, that might look like a better possibility if Bitcoin continues to kind of crash and go bearish. But if Bitcoin gets its act together and the rest of the market does too, we definitely could see CKB continue to rise through the ranks, because we do have this huge cup and handle. We do have this huge inverse head and shoulders pattern on our side right now. So I think temporary price action is somewhat insignificant right now. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with Bitcoin and all of that. Currently, we can see where price action is at. Again, we wicked down to about 0.085555-ish, somewhere in there. Looks like, well, that was the other day, excuse me, 0.0899 this morning. So that's interesting to see how price has rebounded. And if we see this price kind of rebound even further and revisit these 0.023 levels rather quickly, I do think that we still have the possibility of getting maybe a little ascending triangle out of this thing within this little Fibonacci sliver especially. So that would be kind of cool to see CKB kind of do its own thing and head on up that way. So right now, I'm going to kind of give you a few different price tags to look at. We're talking some bearish scenarios. We might see CKB run down to the 0.0165-ish level, 0.0142-ish level, somewhere in here. Over the course of the next few weeks, and this is if Bitcoin goes bearish. We are kind of at this weird tipping point with Bitcoin right now, so when that happens, I like to give kind of both sides of what could happen. With that said, if we decide to go bullish, I do think that over the next couple of weeks, if we could squeeze off this ascending triangle, that would be great. And really, I do think that a 2.5 cent CKB would be definitely on the table. 0.026 to 0.03 would be my targets, very short term. So those are some numbers to kind of look out for, and we can definitely see that right now. CKB is in a squeeze, and a symmetrical triangle is forming off of this bull flagpole. So, it's going to really come down to it over the next couple days. I think it's likely for CKB to trade within this 0.019 to 0.022 range, hopefully. So I'm hoping we don't take a leg downwards, but if we do, we are still in this uptrend since the beginning of the bull run. But, of course, this is all going to be super, super contingent on Bitcoin, which has been known to burn CKB quite nicely. And just heading back to Bitcoin, I mean, if we draw some trends here, we can see that this thing could possibly be forming some sort of long, drawn-out falling wedge. I think that you could argue it just based off this limited data that we do have, that this thing might be fixing for 50,000 before it moves back up. And this thing could be getting ready to head back up to some new all-time highs up this way. So we'll just have to keep your eye on the market, keep your eyes on the portfolio. It'll be interesting to see what path Bitcoin takes, but I suspect at this point we may in fact see another retest of these upper trend lines as this thing trends down. And I would like to see Bitcoin really hop out of this rising wedge and get back on top of this gigantic rising wedge and blow the top off it. So I'm hoping from this point that we just see some impulse wave to the upside, maybe off the back of this $57,000 price tag. So there's a lot to speculate on right now. Nobody knows. That's the most important thing. That's why you need to do your due diligence and your own research to come up with your own opinions. This is just kind of what I'm seeing as I'm trying to navigate through this tricky market right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed the TA for today. I think I'm really going to limit it to this one video today simply because of the volatility, and I don't want to be putting out a bunch of videos that are subject to change the next day. So with that said, let's just do a quick checkup on Voyager. Yesterday, I titled the video Incoming Volatility Ahead. I was kind of hoping that we would have seen Voyager token really rip out of this descending triangle, since we had such a nice multi-month floor right around this level. And we still can see that this full body candle hasn't really broken the entire floor quite yet. So I do think that there could be a chance that this is still on the table, but price action just has moved a little bit lower. For Voyager token, if things get rough, I could easily see $1.64 VGX, maybe $1.75. Just being real with everybody here. So I don't know. It is what it is. That is if things get bearish. So I mean, it's just a day in crypto land. Get a few retracements, get a few pumps. You guys know how it is. Here is Shiba, folks. How about this? I warned everybody when this was at about 273, somewhere down in here. I said, hey, this thing's getting ready to rock. And sure enough, it did. I sold off way too early after I 2x'd my money, but it is what it is, right? So I do think that SHIB might be setting up for another leg up. After all of this, I do think that we might be seeing some sort of ascending or a symmetrical triangle happen, and I do think that this thing's going to go up once more. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do TA on SHIB. So with that said, folks, that's going to wind up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a tricky time right now to do TA. I'm going to be straight up with you guys. Big shout out to all the Patreons. I love you all. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel, it's just $3 a month. You can get your name, YouTube channel name, or business name up on this banner. Safe trading to everyone. Keep your eye on the market.